mindless douchebag purveyor of evil. Anyone who says it. And there's a few reasons. You know what? I'm even going to do it now. I'm going to get it off my chest now. Let me get this off my chest because I've been thinking about this. Okay. Mindless douchebag. I don't say that lightly. The reason I say that these people who scream genocide are mindless douchebag is because what they do is this. They will try to find a technical definition of genocide and then shoehorn that into the activities that are happening in the Middle East, specifically for the purpose of being able to label Israel as engaging in genocide, even though, let's assume that they come up with some sort of definition. They say that it's attack and that everyone there is Arab or Muslim. I don't even know what quote unquote race there is that's exclusively living in that, I don't know, 4 mile by 4 mile square region, whatever it is. But because there ain't, because the same folks of the same heritage and same faith and same skin tone and same language and same religion, there are 2 million of them who are all living in complete same rights. But you want to say that it's like people living in this region, that's what you're labeling okay. Whatever way they're trying to shoehorn it in there. The reason I call that mindless douchebag is because you're ignoring the fact that there are millions of Muslims, Arabs, who are living in Israel proper. So in that sense, you're being actually mindless about it. But it's also that you're taking the term genocide, which is a very charged term. It's something that's designed to charge people. It's designed the same way. It's no different than when people scream at you, racist. Right here now, what they've done is they basically done the same thing with the term genocide. And the reason that there's such a douchebag for doing this is because any person who's actually engaged in real genocide, like that's suffering of people who engage in real genocide. And I'm not talking exclusively the Holocaust. I'm talking about Armenians. I'm talking about Uyghurs. I'm talking about people across the globe more recently than the Holocaust who are genuine victims of genocide. You are completely spitting in their face. And that makes you a douchebag. Because you're basically trying to find some way that I can technically try and apply this term based on some Webster's definition or some UN definition or some other definition to use the term, even though in this setting, it doesn't mean anything like what it's meant every other time humans have ever used the term genocide ever. Because anytime we've ever been talking about, we're talking about people who are looking, that you have one race that is looking to literally wipe out another race. Whether you're talking about Uyghurs, whether you're talking about Armenians, whether you're talking about Jews in the Holocaust, it's literally trying to wipe out a race. So now what you're basically doing is I'm going to try and shoehorn a way to say that technically, actually this is they're trying, but the reason why you're trying so hard to shoehorn that in there, it's because you're desperately trying to label this evil, terrible label on Israel for the purpose of like pushing forward your Palestine agenda without giving the slightest whit of damn as to the impact this has on people who actually have suffered through that, whether it was 80 years ago or 20 years ago with Uyghurs in China. And that makes you a completely insensitive douchebag. There's something wrong with you, that you're basically spitting on the terribleness of genocide by willy-nilly throwing that around. I've been screaming about how people were calling Hitler or calling the right racist or all this other nonsense for a long time, because I said what you're doing basically is you're taking terms that should be reserved for the truly evil, and instead of actually saying something and making anyone say, oh yeah, wow, that really is Hitler, what you end up actually doing is you just trivialize the level of evil, and that's what they're doing with this word too, and that makes you a douchebag. You can say you disagree with Israel's tactics. You can say that Israel is a way that is immoral. You can, a lot of different ways you can make the same argument, but when you're lazy and desperately trying to find the worst possible term that you can possibly try to figure out how to apply to them, and you're using it in a way that has no relationship to how it was ever used before, you are a mindless douchebag. You're too stupid to actually be able to make your arguments in ways that are not reliant on a false flag, on a false label or a falsely ascribed label. It's a label that's hypercharged beyond what it's supposed to be, and that makes you stupid. But you're also a douchebag because you're spitting on people who actually suffer through that harm, and you're a purveyor of evil. And the reason you're a purveyor of evil, the reason you're not compassionate, you're not a good person, the reason you're a terrible person is because you are basically encouraging people to the world to basically think of genocide as not being that big a deal, when it actually is a really, really real deal. And it doesn't matter which race is the victim thereof. So when people do that, you're a mindless douchebag who is purveying evil, and you're a disgusting human being. I just want to get that off my chest. There you go.